Coming up on this episode of the Entrepreneurial You.
When I furnish the property, I can charge 2-3 times more. So one property that could have brought like $20,000 a year is bringing me $40,000 to $60,000 a year because I'm doing short-term rental and mid-term rentals. Your mindset needs to change first. You cannot want to invest in real estate and you go tell everybody who doesn't even know, who's never invested in real estate, that you want to invest. Of course, they're going to tell you, oh, are you sure you're going to be fixing toilets at night?
Hey, it's John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and it's the Entrepreneurial You, the show for dedicated and passionate Caribbean entrepreneurs seeking daily inspiration, brought to you by author, speaker, and award-winning entrepreneur Heneka Watkis-Porter. You must be prepared to ignite.
All right, my trailblazers, welcome to another energizing episode of the Entrepreneurial You podcast, your go-to hub for inspiration and actionable insights on business, leadership, and success. Of course, I'm your host, Heneka Watkis-Porter, and today we are diving into the world of real estate investing with a true powerhouse, I tell you. Imagine this, 154 doors in just 4 years and a 7-figure portfolio to match. Yeah, man, that's right. Today's guest has mastered the game of real estate and she's here to spill all the secrets. Of course, before we get into that, I just want to say thanks to the Jamaica Stock Exchange and to HenekaWatkis-Porter.com. So a big fat welcome to Yamu Camara. Welcome, Yamu.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm so happy to be here.
Absolutely. And we're going to be talking about mastering real estate, building a 7-figure portfolio in just 4 years, which it's really about unlocking the secrets to rapid real estate success, how we're going to, or how we can acquire doors and build a 7-figure portfolio in record time. So many persons are in the business of real estate and they would love just a little tips, as we say in Jamaica, a little tips of your success. So we are hoping that you're going to spill the beans and let us know. All right. So before we get into all of that, though, Yamu, let's, have a little icebreaker. So if you could own any famous property in the world, like Buckingham Palace, whichever one, which one would it be and why, right? So there's no pressure here, but I'm sure the listeners are dying to know if you've got a flair for the royal or the wild side, right?
Okay, I'll go on the religious side. I'm a Muslim, so I'll say Mecca.
Oh, okay. So that's where you would
yeah, the Kaaba, where we go for pilgrim, of course.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So let's continue. Let's get into the thick of things. How did you get started in real estate investing, Yamu, and what was your first deal like?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm going to take you back to a little background about me. So I grew up in West Africa, the Gambia. I had 7 siblings. My parents passed away really early. My mom passed when I was 2 and my dad when I was 11. So in Africa, basically, the girl child education is like the list on your agenda, right? So by the age, by the time you're 5, 6, 7 years old, you already know who you're going to marry to because they do betrothing. So oh, you're going to be marrying this cousin or you're going to be marrying this person over there because your parents have the transaction done or the family has the transaction done. So I always knew who I was going to be married to. Now, with my dad being sick after my mom passed, my sister had to get married, so she took me with my brother, who's like 4 years older than me. So we have to live in an extended family of her husband. So usually we live in compounds, like 10 homes in one compound, all family. So if you have 5 brothers, all the brothers will stay in the same compound, have multiple wives. So it's like big compounds, right? So imagine an offer and being raised in that environment where you don't belong here because you don't have the same last name and you're not from that village. So we went through a lot of abuse, sexual, emotional, physical, you name it. But my brother had it hard. But for me, it was more like a release in school because I was really good in school. So primary school, junior school, you're ready to get married. That's the most they will give you. So for me, it was more like, okay, I used to pee in bed. And if those of you know about abused kids, they usually wet beds. So I would not be allowed to sleep on the bed. I would sleep on like dirt floor. And on those nights where the bugs are unbearable or the mosquitoes or like, the bed, what's the name of the bug that bites you. Bed bugs.
Chink or chink,
Bed
we call him chink in Jamaica.
Yeah, the bed bugs, they're so unbearable. So I wake up in the night and kill them and go back to sleep. During that time, I always say, when I grow up, I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to buy a bed. I'm going to buy a toilet. Like things I don't have, I don't have parents, but I can't buy parents. But I know if I work so hard, I might be able to buy a house. So that's where it started. More so, but not an investment side because I didn't even know what that meant, investment buying rental properties. But at that time, my goal was to be good at school, get a job if they let me finish to be able to continue to get a job and maybe let me work and I'll get a house and a bed. And I've always been jealous of my friends that have parents, that have toilets, they have a house, they have a bed. I like to go to their house and see. So that's the things that I assess. So a house has always been something I always wanted. I don't know if it was going to be possible, but this is something I always wanted. So me being good in school, I usually get scholarships. So I'll not only take first in my school, but the region. So I'll get scholarship like that way. So in the villages, people in the city have access to education. They have access to the government they have family members that work in the government. If you know Africa, corruption is a different level, right? Jobs, people that are not qualified for jobs will get the jobs. The ones that are not qualified will not get it. So for me, it was more of scholarship to keep pushing me. So my aunt and my sister were the one talking to the elders. Well, let her just finish junior school. And then junior school, all her friends are getting married. Why does she have to go to high school? Well, we're not paying for her scholarship or anything. It's free for us. Why can't we just let her and the husband can go marry somebody else? Either way, he was going to marry someone else anyway. So he married another wife and they let me finish all to high school. Now in high school, I was like, I can't come this far and let go. I want to go to college. So it's time for me to get married. I kind of negotiated with him to marry someone else and let me finish school. And then after I'm done. Now, final year university, I stumbled upon an internship. A friend of mine's family member opened a software company. So I did computer science and mathematics, and they hired them, my friends. And the guy that owned it was like, "Hey, you guys are really good at this. Do you know someone that that we can hire that's good?" They were like, "Well, our friend, she's the best, but she can't. She lives over there. I don't know if she'll be able to do it." They were like, "Okay, tell her to come and I'll interview her." So I went, did an interview, and he hired me the same day. I was like, "I have class." He's like, "No, stay and work, and then you could go to school tomorrow." So that's how I got that job. So while I was in that semester, my friends, actually, they were not hired as software. They were hired as marketing because they do software and marketing. But I was really good software and mathematics. So I was the software engineer that they hired instead. So during that time, I was like, you know what? There are not many girls that are in IT. What can I do? So I started a nonprofit organization that teaches girls how to write computer codes, basic IT for go to different villages. So it kind of blew up, and we go to different villages and we teach like high schoolers or middle schoolers basic IT skills, because we know from there they might not necessarily go to high school, or for the ones going high school, they might necessarily never go to college. So having this skill set, they can use it for something else. So that was my way of gearing up. So I didn't know the program was going to blow up. People keep sending me this link. There's a program the U.S. government started, Obama. This was back in 2015, 2016, and he named it after Nelson Mandela. So basically around Africa, they take students or youths that are doing amazing things in their community, like fighting violence, war, advocacy, those kind of stuff. So people keep sending me this link, apply. I was like, this is for people that are doing amazing things. I'm just doing this little thing. I don't think they're going to take me to the US because I'm doing this IT stuff. I was like, you know what, let me take a shot. So I applied. We went to US Embassy to do the interview, various steps in the interview. So I did the first interview, and then I got an email from them saying, I'm going on to the next one, and then to the next one. And I was like, wow, this is going somewhere. At the beginning, I didn't even tell anybody because I don't even have access to internet at home. So when I go to work is when I have internet. So after I told my sister, I think I might get this because I'm in the finalist for this. So it's a nonprofit organization. The Mandela Washington Fellowship is for young African leaders that are doing amazing things. So they bring them to the US as presidential guests, and then they give them scholarship. So past time, the interview came. I did the interview, the final one, and I was chosen from 40,000 applicants to come to the US. I was placed at Northwestern University. I was flown to meet President Obama in DC in August, right before 2016, right before, the elections. that's how it all started. So I came to the US and I studied, got my master's. And while I was doing my master's, of course, it's like a work scholarship. I analyzed data for the university and they waived my tuition fee. This is another university in University of Illinois. So when I finished Northwestern, then I went to the University of Illinois. So with that scholarship, they waived my tuition fee and they give me $1,000 stipend. With that $1,000, food, transportation, housing, all of that's from there. So you know how little that is in the US, right? So you sometimes left with $20, $30 for groceries for a whole month. So I said, okay, I need to find a roommate that's very, very cheap. So in the university Facebook website, you have students that are, hey, I won't need a roommate. Hey, I have 2 roommates. We need an extra one. So it's cheaper, like 200, 300, something like that. So I was looking for that. And I realized what parents will do is they will buy a 3-bedroom home for like $80,000 under $100,000 as a mortgage, right? It's in their name. They put their kids in one room and rent out the other rooms. And I was like, this is amazing. And then some of the kids will order for the go for each bedroom. They will rent out the mattresses. Like student like us, that's even cheaper. So if it was 300, then imagine somebody who can only bring a mattress. So in one room, they can have 4 mattresses. So we put a little twin mattresses and we rent out. So imagine, even though the occupancy is high, the parents own the home. So they were making 4 or 5 times the mortgage. The cash flow is above the roof. To me, as an advocate, that just blew my mind. I was like, I have to do this. This is genius. How come nobody's doing this? Their house is being paid down. Basically, they're living there. Their kid is living there for free. And they're 3 times, 4 times in the rent that other landlords are getting. So imagine every student paying $300 per mattress for 1 bedroom, and the rents are going for less than $1,000. Their mortgage is less than $500. So it was amazing. This was like 20. This is amazing to me, and I was like, yeah, I need to do this when I start my work. So from there, I started planning. I said, okay, when I get a job, this is what I'll do. So fast forward, after I graduated, 2016, 2018, I graduated. I started looking for jobs, so many jobs. You're international students, it's hard to get a job. And you only have 1 year to get a job, like a company sponsor your visa, or you have to go back. So I was looking for jobs anyhow. And then I stumbled upon, I was working with this recruiter who sent me this link to start looking for jobs. And I did different interviews. At this point, I'm doing like interviews almost every day. And I got one of the jobs turned out to be a job for CDC. So I started working for CDC as a data scientist. And I started saving money. Whatever I have, like I started listening to podcasts. So that's how I started. When I got the CDC job, 3 months into it, I got the job September 2019. So you remember what happened in August, in the following year, like 6 months later, the shutdown happened, right? So this is me. I only have $8,000 fast forward saved up. But I'm contacting banks because from all the real estate podcasts that I listen to, the real estate networking groups, they say always contact the local banks. If you're looking for a property in a small town or in any town, contact the local bank there, not Chase or US Bank or all that, just the local banks. So that's what I started doing. I said, okay, I'm in Georgia now. I cannot afford properties in this area. Let me go to where I know. So from Amvik, I only know Illinois and here. So I said, okay, some areas in Chicago I can't buy. Let me go outside of Chicago. So I go to smaller towns outside of Chicago. And I started looking. So I'm seeing properties on the 100,000, properties 80,000, 78,000. So I looked at all the local banks there and I called them. Some of them hang up on me because of my accent. Some of them do listen and they're like, no, we can't give you. What's your credit score? And I'm like, my credit score is like newborn because I just got to the US not long ago. So of course they were like, oh, go pick your credit, come back in 3 years or 4 years. So I get one bank to listen to me. And the lady was like, I know you're very excited to do this and you already have planned out everything. I'm a numbers person. So I laid out all the numbers and everything. She was like, yeah, your numbers look great. And I see that you're really passionate about this, but your credit score is like you're a newborn. So go fix your credit, get a credit card, start building your credit and so and so and so. I said, okay, I'll go do that. I did that. But still, I'm like passionate because at this point, I'm analyzing properties. It's making sense to me, the cash flow. And I'm like, I have 8,000. Let me start. Let me just give me like a chance. So I reached out to the lady again. I said, hey, I know that you said to come back in a few years, but I have done everything you said. Like I've done the credit, build up the secure credit line. I'm building the credit. I put utilities. I'm paying them in the credit card and everything. But I found this deal. It's listed for 65,000. I talked to the seller. He can bring it down to 52,000. It's a 3-unit family. They said it's all rented out. When I calculated the mortgage, it's going to be 354. That's what I need to pay you guys. Worst case scenario, 1 tenant, we'll be able to pay the mortgage 2 times because the rent for a 2-bedroom is $750, and there's there's two bedroom and 1 bedroom. He was like, okay, I see that you presented everything, but I don't have the final call. I'm gonna give it to the underwriting team. They will let you know, but don't message me or anything. I said, okay, fine. The next day she was like, they looked at it, they said, why not? So that's how I started. That's how I started with
Yamu, that's such a beautiful and inspirational story. Wow. We are going to take a break right here just to hear from our partners. It's our partners that we're hearing from, and then we're going to come back and we are going to finish up this conversation. We'll get into more questions. The interesting and inspiring story of Yamu Camara. So let's take a break.
We needed to raise capital, but our experience with local financial institutions was that they were cautious and slow to act, and interest rates were far too high. We had real concerns about financing our business through outside equity investors and the possibility of interference. Could we get a fair valuation for our business? We had our own ideas about the business and its value. Should I go the traditional route of bank financing, or should I try the Jamaica Stock Exchange? So we made a call and experienced transformation of our business through conversations. I'm John Mahfood, CEO of Jamaican Teas, and we're listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Give us a call today at 876-967-3271 to begin your transformation through conversation. We want to see your company listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Welcome back. No, oh my gosh. Before the break, you heard the interest. I asked one question, kind of two questions, right? How did she get started in real estate and her very first deal? So I asked two questions, and in asking those questions, my listeners, you heard we were able to glean from that with the passion and the excitement with which Yamu shared with us how it all went, the backstory, because had she responded simply to that first question that I've asked, we would not get, there's so much that would have been left out. The interesting story, the journey, and I believe it is so important. While sometimes I know we want to cut to the chase and want to get to the point, it is also important that we hear the stories of others, because it's a story that will inspire. It is a story that will get us to even move, take action, because somebody's listening who see real estate as, it's for the rich man, right? It's the rich man's game. It's not for me. It's for the person who already has money. But here it is. Yamu has demonstrated that you just need to start where you are. Little by little, movement brings momentum, atomic habits, the compound effect, all of those things are demonstrating now that it's necessary. Yamu is demonstrating that they're necessary to get us where we want. So this is quite inspiring. And so from that, what I was able to see is an entrepreneurial mindset. I was able to detect from that journey. And, when I look at you, I mean, we're recording on video, of course, we know we are only doing the audio, but when I look at you, Yamu, I see someone who does not or has not allowed their story, their history to determine where you go next. And that's already a win. So congratulations,
Thank you.
many persons like you can that have gone through the things that you have. Usually when we go through stuff, we have two choices. Do we allow it to define us, break us?
Yes.
Or do we allow it to inspire us to get to the next level? And clearly we've seen what you've taken your lemons to do. You've made lemonades, right? When life gives you lemon, make some lemonade. Yeah.
For me, it's a matter of whatever you need to do, girl, do it, because I'm not going back to that life.
Amen, sister.
Work hard. What is better, that life or whatever you're going through? So when I'm going through issues with my contractor or the city, I think about where I started and like, you know what? I would take this problem any day. Better what I left home. Yeah.
Yeah, and clearly it drives you. So we're going to talk a little bit about the drive
Mhm.
little later on. But what I want to get from you, and you said something earlier that many of the banks or some of the banks hung
Mhm.
up on you because of your accent,
Yeah.
right? Discrimination right there. Like,
Yeah.
who is this girl? Who is she? Is she crazy? Like,
Like I
where did
can't hear you when you can talk clearly, you can call back. Okay, bye-bye now. Hang up. Yep. Yeah, a lot of those. Yep. That's just that's just America. That's America. You're gonna get these in every level that you go to. Even now, I'm getting it like, oh, I'm gonna talk to the owner, and I'm like, I'm the owner. Or can I talk to your husband? Or who's the owner of this? And I'm like, I still get those. Like, but I pick my fight. At what level? Like, do you want to fight everybody who comes across? So yeah.
Listen, girl, after today, you and I are best friends, right? We're besties. Like, hello. No, like seriously. So how did it make you feel
Mhm.
when you heard those though? Like, let's talk about that because
You mean then or now? Because
at the time when you're going through, did you feel like just quitting and no matter?
yeah, so at the beginning, I know it's race, and I cry sometimes, like for some are very hurtful. I don't want to go in detail with using
Mm-hmm.
the negative words and stuff, but yes, it used to be hurtful. Some of them, what I'm saying makes sense, or the email I sent you because I took your email, business email from the website, and I sent you everything. Well, on paper, you're impressed with what you see, like, wow, this is real detail analytics, right? But then I talk to you and you're undermining me because of now you hear my accent. Like the accent doesn't match what was presented to them. So I get what is called ghosted. So the person doesn't call you again because on paper what they see is like, wow, this is impressive, and you get to put because some of them I even had Zoom calls with them, so it's like, so I can be more professional. Like I have to try every step harder than everyone else. I know
Mm-hmm.
that for sure if I was white it would have been super easy. I didn't even have to go the extra mile to put all the information and every step, cash flow, how much the expense will be, all that information. I know I didn't have to do that. I would just qualify right away. But these are the things that we face in America. Unfortunately, this is the story. I'm a multi-millionaire now, and I'm still facing those issues. Now I can walk away. Now I can pick. Now I can
Your
fight.
fights. No, you pick your
Before
fights,
I
yeah?
needed now before I needed them. Now I don't. Like, okay, you're not gonna
Yeah.
fund it. This bank is willing to fund it. Oh, you're not gonna fund it? I'll buy it for cash, and then I'll go to finance with another bank. Now I can pick my fight. Now I can say no. I'm not signing that.
All right, let's talk about,
Else,
tell
yeah,
us
I'm
your
not signing
company.
that. This is what I'm signing. This is how I do
Yeah.
it. This is how it's gonna be done. Or I take my business somewhere else, right? Even with insurance companies, I'm bringing all these properties. Is either you work with me, or I take it to Progressive, or I take it to State Farm. Whatever. What do you want? So now I can pick my fight. At the beginning, I couldn't. And I didn't understand the culture because where I came from, everyone is Black. There's no racism. There's tribalism, different tribes, but not different race. So it was a culture shock for me, and I had to like learn from it. So
And I'm sure it made you strong. Let's talk about your company, because you're running a multi-million-dollar business, right? Who would have thought? Let's talk about that and your team and all of that.
yeah, so now I have 154 rental doors. I have 59 rental properties like residential, and then I have commercial as well. Commercial meaning self-storage facility. Those are the ones that are not inhabited by humans, but items where people store their stuff. So those boring metal buildings that you see on the way that looks like cubes, those. So I purchased a new one. I've been dying to get into that business because it's very lucrative and it's less time consuming. So I spend like 30 minutes to 1 hour a week on that business, and it's cash flow because everything is automated. So when people want to rent out a unit, they go online, they create an account, they make a payment, they sign the lease. Their card is saved every month. I just get auto generation. So I always wanted that as well, because even though yes, residential is exciting, I like the process of buying and fixing and all of that, I also want this part as well. So I'm doing both now. So I buy small multi-families, I buy single families, but mostly medium, like 3-bedroom, 3 units, 4 units, 10 units, 12 units, 20 units max. So those are the ones I specialize on. The other thing is during COVID happened, I mostly do Section 8 because when I started, it was Section 8 rental properties. But then,
And for those who don't know, Section 8 is?
Yeah, so Section 8 is a government program where the rent is paid by the government. So the people that apply are people that have been earning below average in the US. So if they earn like 40,000, 50,000, depending on what state they're in, there's an average that a person earns and you consider below or above average. So those people can apply for rental supplement by the federal government. This is everywhere in the US, every state, every county. So when the rents for a 3-bedroom is, let's say, 1,600, the government would pay landlords like us $1,800, $200 extra because most landlords don't want to rent to Section 8. So I make my place really beautiful, really livable compared to what is in the market. So that way I can get more income from Section 8 so I can get the best tenants. So Section 8 with that was like recession proof because you know what happened in COVID, nobody can evict a tenant, right? But with Section 8, and they're not getting rent because if people are not working and making money, the landlords are not getting paid as well. So people are living at their place, but rent is not being paid, and you have to work with it because it's COVID and we're going through it. All of us are going through it. But with Section 8, the government, they pay you on the first of the month. So most of my rentals are still Section 8. So properties values are going down, right? But I'm getting so much money from Section 8. So let's say 10 properties from one city, I'll get almost like $20,000 a month. So that I keep buying and keep buying and keep buying more. The competition was less. However, in 2021, people started traveling. Airbnb became so popular. There were nurses everywhere. So I said, you know what? In Atlanta, there are a lot of people doing travel nurses and stuff. And I buy out of state. So I buy in Ohio, I buy in Illinois, I buy in Georgia now. But I was like, you know what? Let me take what I see in Atlanta and do it somewhere else. Because travel nurses are everywhere. So what I did is I started buying homes close to the hospitals so I can furnish it, not just fix it and rent it, fix it, furnish it, and rent it to travelers, business travelers like insurance companies as well. And that's how I started cash flowing more and buying more. So if the rents are going for $1,500, when I furnish the property, I can charge 2-3 times more. So one property that could have brought like $20,000 a year is bringing me $40,000 to $60,000 a year because I'm doing short-term rental and mid-term rental. So I started doing that, and that kind of blew up my cash flow because I started buying more. So I started buying 5 properties at a time, 6 properties at a time, and my contractor's just fixing it, and I just turn it around. So that's how I scale faster.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an inspirational story. My gosh, Queen, you are doing the thing.
Thank you.
You are doing the thing. We're going to go into our community connection segment. You see, the thing about this conversation is that a lot of questions I wanted to ask, I didn't even have to ask them because your story told them. And you're just so passionate.
Real estate. I'm so passionate about real estate. You just have to press the button and I keep going.
You're passionate about life. And no, believe me, that story you're bringing in, it's just an amazing story. So let's go into the community connection segment. And in this segment, this is where I invite you, my community members, to share your reviews, your questions, your feedback, whatever it is that you want to share with me, to engage with me. So this week, I'm sharing a feedback from a reader of my book, Podcast Power, the Quick Start Guide to Launching and Leveling Up Your Brand. And this review, a 5-star review, came from Akeano Thelwell. She says, 5 out of 5 stars, an easy to read yet powerful and practical guide. Podcast Power is a real powerhouse. Heneka has done a tremendous job at providing the most important and relevant information that anyone starting a podcast or seeking to augment an existing one would need. The book is comprehensive, easy to understand, and is a real tool. It has helped me way better than all other resources or sources I've consulted so far. So I strongly recommend this guide to others. Thank you so much, Akeano Thelwell. I appreciate that review. When I get reviews like this, of course, it makes my heart glad. All right. And that was the community connection segment. I come back to my conversation. We're about to wrap this conversation with Yamu. So Yamu, I'm going to ask you at this point to share your final thoughts around persons wanting to become entrepreneurs within the real estate industry. What are some of the considerations that they should make when they're thinking about going into real estate as a business?
Okay, I'm going to try to make it short because I know I'm very detailed. Number 1, mindset. your mindset needs to change first. You cannot want to invest in real estate and you go to everybody who doesn't even know, who's never invested in real estate, that you want to invest. Of course, they're going to tell you, oh, are you sure? You're going to be fixing toilets at night. You're going to be doing that. I've been investing for 4 years, never fixed any toilet, right? So mindset, it's one thing. Not that those people don't want the best interest, but they just don't know. They don't have the education. Number two, I want you to get the education. So mindset education, whether you're going to be reading books, whether you're going to find a mentor, or you're going to go on social media and follow all the people that do real estate, and you learn a little bit. And the thing about now is, especially America, buy books, go to YouTube, watch it, and start. So when you're starting, right, I don't want you to go and start buying 300,000 home if you only have 10,000, 20,000 saved up. I like for you to make a mistake on a smaller budget property than make a mistake on a high budget property, because that mistake will be costly. So for me, at the beginning, I couldn't afford where I lived. I only had 8,000 saved up. I had to start somewhere. The whole point is start. So you can buy, this is the US, and whether you're in the US or anywhere, look for places that you can afford. Stop listening to people tell you, oh, people are moving out of this place. People tell me people are moving out of Georgia. Why are you buying in Georgia? Who's moving out of Georgia? I cannot buy all the homes in Georgia. People are still in Georgia. So those are the kind of data that you should not be listening to. So that's what I do. Even at the beginning, people that were telling me, don't do that. You just came to the country. You're going to buy properties out of state. Who's going to manage you? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? Now I have managers everywhere. My company is in different states and I have property managers. So there's always a solution. You just need to surround yourself with the right people. So I guess that's that. I would have want to do like a step-by-step of what to do, but these are the ones I will leave you with.
In addition to the mindset thing, let's talk about those step-by-step things that you want to share.
So when you really want to start, you got the mindset unlocked, you started reading books, and what you want to do is analyze a market. So analyzing a market meaning, hey, what market is affordable for me? How much do I have as a down payment, right? If you had 10,000 saved up, there's a property for you. Because I started with a 8,000 down payment on a 52,000 rental. So most people don't know that when you are buying a property, you can put 10%, 5%, 15 to 20% down based on your credit. So number one, analyze a market, identify what market you want to invest in. Second, you want to contact the local banks in that market. You tell them you're interested in buying rental properties, and this is how much you have saved up, and this is your credit score. What can they give you? So they will say, based on your credit score, or based on your down pay, what you have saved up, we can loan you a 60,000 loan or a 70,000 loan. So with that approval letter, you can go start looking for properties in that price range. So let's say your credit score, some banks want your credit score to be 620 and above. Let's say your credit score is not up to 620, right? Or whatever credit score they gave you, not up to there, go and fix your credit, especially in the US. You can go fix your credit. They will tell you when you need to cut down, what credit cards you need to pay off, or what you need to do. So you do those steps, and then you go back, get an approval letter. Now that you have an approval letter, you start looking for agents that will work with. So now you introduce yourself to the different agents. You can go on Zillow and look at the properties, the market that you want to invest in, and see all the agents that have some properties listed up. Their contact numbers there, call them. Tell them, I see you have 100,000 property listed. I can't afford that one, but I'm looking for something 70,000. Can you put me in can I send you my email? You put me in the MLS. So if you see those deals, you send them to me. Exactly. So you have 5 agents in one city sending you deals. So that way you know, okay, they send you a 40,000 property deal. You look at it, you schedule a show, you go look at it if this is something that you want to invest in. The next thing you want to see is how much to calculate the rents. You want to know in the area what rents are going for. If you go on Zillow, you will see what properties are renting for, 2 bedrooms are renting for, 3 bedrooms are renting for. You can also call the Section 8 office in that city and ask them what 3 bedrooms are going for. If you go to their website, they have all that information. So you say, okay, now I know what kind of property I want, because if I get a 3-bedroom property for 60,000, I can rent it on Section 8 for 1,600 or 1,800. See what I mean? So that's how you start the step. And then the next one is contractors. You also want to identify contractors. Go on Facebook Market, go on Facebook events, real estate events in your area. There's an app where you can put, I think it's Meetup or something. So any real estate meetup that you see, go there. Some of them are free. You get to contact real estate investors. You get to connect with agents. You're going to connect with contractors as well. And there are different ways to find contractors as well. You can go on Home Depot. You can go to Lowe's or any home improvement store to connect with them. So these are the steps I would want you to start with.
Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. I'm sure that is of value to the listeners. Wow. So not only have you inspired us and told us about how you've done it, but you've actually shared how others can do it. So again, big ups to you. Big up, big up, big up.
Thank you.
What is the name of your company? Let's talk about that so that person can find it.
Yeah, so if you go to sobelproperties.com or you go to Building Wealth from Rentals on social media. So my Instagram is Building Wealth from Rentals, and that's one word. And when you go there, there'll be a link to my websites.
Okay, Building Wealth from Rentals. And the name of the company again?
Sobel Properties LLC.
Sobel Properties LLC. All right. Thank you. I'm coming right back to give a little more detailed thanks. But for now, let me just head straight into trending now. Trending now in real estate. According to a recent report from the National Association of Realtors, existing home sales in the U.S. have increased by 2% over the past year, with rental demand continuing to surge. It's a competitive market out there, and with the rising demand for rental properties, there's never been a better time to invest. What do you think about this trend? How are you seeing it play out in your own investments? And that's what's trending now. All right. My pleasure it has been to host Yamu Camara. What an incredible conversation. More than that, what an incredible person, human being she is. She is killing it in the real estate industry. So if that is your thing, if you're thinking about getting into real estate, then you need to be following Yamu. You need to be taking lessons from her, follow her, watch her, what she's been doing. And she sends out she shares with her Instagram and all of that. So you can always, send her a message. I'm sure she'll be happy to respond to you to kind of give you some guidance. So Yamu Camara, thank you so much for spending time with me today. It has been such an honor to meet you.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. I tell you, this is episode 392. I've interviewed so many persons. Les Brown, I've interviewed Lisa Nichols, I've interviewed Seth Godin, I've interviewed Richard Branson, so many other famous persons, and persons who are not as famous but very impactful. And I can hands-on tell you that this conversation has been one of my favorites.
Thank you.
And thank you to all our listeners. Remember that success in real estate isn't just about the properties you own, but also about the strategies you implement, yes, and the mindset you maintain. So if today's episode resonated with you, please be sure to share it with your network and leave a review. And don't forget to visit HenekaWatkis-Porter.com for more tools and resources to fuel your entrepreneurial journey. Until next time, keep building your dreams. And remember, success is yours for the taking. Affirm with me. I'm capable of building the life of my dreams. Each investment I make is a step toward my financial freedom and the legacy I am creating. A special thank you to our sponsors, the Jamaica Stock Exchange and HenekaWatkis-Porter.com. Do take care.
We needed to raise capital, but our experience with local financial institutions was that they were cautious and slow to act, and interest rates were far too high. We had real concerns about financing our business through outside equity investors and the possibility of interference. Could we get a fair valuation for our business? We had our own ideas about the business and its value. Should I go the traditional route of bank financing, or should I try the Jamaica Stock Exchange? So we made a call and experienced transformation of our business through conversations. I'm John Mahfood, CEO of Jamaican Teas, and we're listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Give us a call today at 876-967-3271 to begin your transformation through conversation. We want to see your company listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.